run junkies, one of the greatest barriers to entry for people getting into triathlon is really the swim leg. For a lot of people, there's lack of comfort or lack of experience in the water, and it just keeps people out of the sport. Today, I want to introduce you to the swim portion of triathlon, some of the gear you need, how to approach your training, regardless of your aptitude in the water. Now, just a quick note, I am not a triathlon coach. I have done triathlons, I am a running coach, but I am not qualified to actually coach in triathlon. So keep that in mind. These are just a few tips that I've learned that I want to pass on to you. Now, for the most part today, I'm basically going to assume that you're starting with the shortest distance triathlon. The swim leg for the sprint is 750 to 800 meters, generally speaking. That's about half a mile. This equates to 16 lengths, one end to the other, of an Olympic-sized pool, or 32 lengths of a lap swimming pool that you might find at your local rec center or fitness center. More often than not, a triathlon race day swim will take place in open water, which means that you are getting in at a shoreline of a lake, a reservoir, or the ocean. You swim out and around a buoy system and then back to the shoreline. So if you're not comfortable in the water, but you don't want that to be your barrier of entry, you want to get past that, how do you do that? Well, swim lessons are a pretty obvious answer, right? Either private lessons or group lessons can be found at many colleges and universities that will have some kind of swim team or a pool. You can also check your local fitness center or recreation center that also has some kind of lap swimming pool. Many times venues like that will have some kind of resource available for you to learn how to swim or get more comfortable in the water. The key word to remember when we are approaching the swim is streamlined. We want to create as little resistance as possible when we move through the water, which requires less energy. The easier it is for us to move, the less energy it takes. There are two very common swim strokes in triathlon. There's the freestyle, also known as front crawl, or breaststroke. Freestyle is the most used, it is the most efficient and the most streamlined. This is where you are reaching one arm forward into the water as you exhale. When your other arm comes up, you inhale and then exhale back into the water. Your feet are a flutter kick, usually kicking from the hips, and that is the most streamlined position. Now, the other stroke is breaststroke. A lot of novice swimmers will use this stroke in triathlon, and it's perfectly legal and it's perfectly valid. Now, in breaststroke, you are bringing both arms under you as you pull, and then you lift your head out of the water to breathe. A lot of novice swimmers like this because they can look forward and you don't actually have to put your face in the water like you do with freestyle. Freestyle requires a little bit more coordination, but breaststroke is great for novices. So let's talk gear. What you really need for the swim portion of the triathlon, you need to start with a swimsuit. Now, you want a swimsuit that's going to fit snug against your body. As we said, the key word is streamlined. If your suit fits very close to your body, it's not catching as much water, therefore it's not creating drag, making it easier to move through the water. So that is your competitive suit. You also want a pair of goggles. Goggles come in a variety of sizes and styles, and just like running shoes, you want the fit to be right for your face. So try out a few different varieties and test them out, because if your goggles leak, you're not gonna be happy. Spend the time and the energy trying out different pairs and make sure you find the right pair for you. Now, a couple of things to consider with goggles. If you are going to be training or racing outside, likely you will be racing outside, think of, you want a tinted goggle, something that's a bit darker, kind of like sunglasses, and maybe something with a wider field of view. These are open water goggles. You can find goggles that are much, much smaller in volume, but these are gonna be a bit bigger. You can also find something that's almost all the way across, and those are really designed for triathlon. They give you a wider field of view as you're swimming in open water. You might also want a swim cap. Now, swim caps are really optional. A lot of people don't like using them. A lot of people find them uncomfortable, as do I. But if you have longer hair, and again, the issue is about being streamlined. If you have longer hair, you want to wear a cap to keep your hair out of your eyes and to keep that drag down, to offer that less resistance in the water. Now, most swim caps will come in latex, but you can also find them in silicone or Lycra. It's also a good idea to at least practice with a swim cap a couple of times because it's likely that you will have to wear one on race day. Okay, so those are the basics. If you get nothing else, swimsuit in order of importance, swimsuit, goggles, and then a swim cap. Now, there's more to it than that if you want to go down this road. This tri-suit is designed to go all the way through the swim, onto the bike, and all the way across the finish line after the run. This is a one-piece suit, and it is kind of built like bike shorts, so it's comfortable on the bike. These are great for short distances, but they are certainly not required. This also has pockets in the back that you can put gels or a small water bottle. They also come in two-piece varieties, and I have this. These are basically very thin bike shorts and a tank top. So that is another option you can go. These are great for shorter distances if you want to go straight from the swim all the way to the run without changing. You certainly don't need to do that, but it's a great idea, especially for shorter races where you don't really have a place to change. Now, what about wetsuits? Wetsuits are certainly not required, but do they help? Yeah. Triathlon wetsuit really helps with the streamlining and how it's built. You have a very slick outer layer. This outer shell is designed to just shed water. Some of the better triathlon wetsuits will have channeling in certain areas and more padding on the back in certain areas. And they're also designed, the long sleeve ones are designed to really help with that range of motion on the freestyle stroke. You can also find wetsuits that are short sleeve in this Farmer John variety. So you don't have the sleeves, and it still has, this is a much more basic suit. It doesn't have all that channeling. But another thing with triathlon wetsuits is that because you swim typically in open water and that can get kind of cold, this helps with the warmth factor. I think the biggest advantage, aside from the streamlining, is the comfort level, because wetsuits are positively buoyant, meaning they float. So if you naturally sink or don't float on top of the water, this is a really great option for you to invest in if you want to be more comfortable. And that streamlining and that flotation will really help you get through the water. So let's get into the training. For a sprint triathlon, you really can get away with 2 to 3 sessions in the water, 30 to 45 minutes per week, depending on your fitness level and your comfort in the water. You can get away with doing the majority of that training in a regular swimming lap pool. However, most triathlon swims are in some kind of body of open water, like a reservoir, lake, or an ocean. So before race day, if you can manage it, try to get at least one swim in that body of water or a similar body of water that you'll be racing in. For example, if you are racing at a reservoir, try to swim there. Or if you are swimming in the ocean for your race day, try to get a swim in salt water if you can. However, never swim in an open body of water alone or without lifeguard supervision. Now let's talk race day swim. There will be so many volunteers out there in powered or unpowered watercraft, making sure you get through the swim safely. Their sole purpose of being out there is for you and your comfort level. There are course marshals out there that are ready to assist you if you need any help. Now, the volunteers that are out there, they're probably out there on some kind of kayak or stand-up paddleboard, and the reason they're there is that if you need a rest, you can just swim over and hold onto their craft, and they are there for you. Now, many races, especially ones that are geared toward first-timers, will have something called swim angels, or maybe they call them something else in different races, but these are volunteers that are ready to swim right alongside you and just get you through that portion of the race. Sometimes they will even have these foam pool noodles that you can use to swim, and it helps you buoy you up as you swim along. Most swim starts will go off in waves. Basically, like a run is broken up into corrals, a swim start is more often than not broken up the same way. The bottom line is this: the swim leg of a triathlon can be daunting and scary, and it might keep you from trying it out, but it actually takes the least amount of time in training for most athletes. And the swim is the part of triathlon that challenges us the most. And you know, if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. My question for you today is this: what do you think of the swim portion of the triathlon? Are you like me? Are you pretty comfortable in the water? Or does it strike fear into your heart and soul? I hope it's not that bad. Please leave thoughts, questions, comments, and suggestions in the comment section down below. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Please hit that thumbs up if you like this video. Thank you so much for watching. Next week, we will be talking about the bike portion of triathlon, so stay tuned. And again, subscribe if you haven't already. Until then, go find your awesome and happy running.